Sweet. Sounds good. How's my audio? Is it good? I'm set up in a...
Yeah, your audio is really good. Cleaner than usual.
It's the same mic. I don't know why.
I don't know either.
Different room, though. Different acoustics.
Yeah.
One sec. I gotta brush my hair. This looks like shit. Yeah, it's fucking like... it's like typhooning here. There's a... It's a desert, but there's like a monsoon season where, like, there's rivers here that aren't there during half of the year. It's really weird. It's a really weird place.
Yeah. I'm familiar with Arizona.
I had no idea, dude. There's 2 seasons here. There's rain season and then desert season. Ellie, where's the brush? Did you come get it? Oh, it's here still. Which compartment? What? Oh, there it is. Stop following me! Alright. This fucker, man. Come here, Sadie. Come here's a good Sadie. That's a good Sadie. Do you have my camera on stream?
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at that. Sadie! Sadie! Sit down, Sadie.
Wait, hold on,
she got startled by the door. Come here, Sadie. Come here. Sit down. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. Oh, that's a good girl. Oh, that's a good girl. I just fuck with this dog so much.
Dogs are the best.
Yeah, they are. Look how happy she looks. Who's a good boy? Come here. Come here.
Boy, isn't Sadie a girl's name?
Yeah.
A girl?
Dogs have no concept of gender. Get up, Sadie. Get up, Sadie. Get up. Get up. She doesn't know what to do because it's not like I'm not something she can just get up on. Sadie, come here. She's gonna get a toy. She gets toys when she's confused. Yeah, there you go. There you go. You fucking retard. There's the R word. I usually call dogs that word, not people. It's different. All right, does this look good?
No, it's not very good. I can see too much of your cleavage.
You like it?
I don't. Too small.
So my dad said. That's why I started touching my brother instead. All right.
Whoa.
That's like too dark.
Whoa.
That's too dark.
You want to just answer this again? Why is it okay to die into enemy tower if it's worth 108 gold for the enemy team each?
They don't get it each. That's a visual bug that they seriously need to fix in Dota because it's 108 gold split. So it's not.
It's the equivalent of 1 creep that they're getting.
Less than a creep, basically.
Yeah.
Per hero, and it is certainly worth taking that death timer instead of. I guess it's important to note that if you're not well aware of this issue, if you die to neutral creeps, you get like a 32-second respawn timer or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like a level 6 worth of respawn timer, and so you can't just die to neutrals. That's basically why people started suiciding to tier 2s instead.
Yeah, dying to neutrals is actually lane losing because you end up spending. It's as if you were level what, like 12 or something like that, and dying.
6. I think it's like 6.
Oh, okay. Anyway.
But it's still like a very long time. Like if you're out of the lane for 30 seconds, that's like a wave or 2 of creeps depending.
Yep.
So pretty bad.
How have your games been going today, by the way, or this week?
Oh, good actually. Let me tell you something. Okay, let's see. One sec. Let me go to the stream. I want to read chat. While I'm bullshitting. This isn't bullshit, by the way, but my games have been going good, decent. But it's like, so I have this Smurf. This it was a divine Smurf. Originally it was New Sham's Smurf. So if you run into this Smurf and it's been incredibly toxic with you, it's because that is a Smurf that was shared by Zizzy, New Sham, and Blitz and myself. Now I'm just using it. And I asked him, like, can I just pay you for it? Because I have a huge anxiety of playing solo queue on my main. And I really like playing Dota, and sometimes I want to play really late at night, and that's a bad time to queue. So I just want to queue on my Smurf that's like around the same rating and just have fun, not worry about like MMR, nothing like that. Like, I just want to play the game. Maybe it's not a good idea, but whatever. I think it is. Anyway, so this Smurf, I'm at like about 5,800 MMR, which is, that's not that high or something like that. But my main, I lost 9 out of 10 calibration games, and I calibrated around like 6K, 6.1K, which was like minus 500 from the previous season, which is very unfortunate. However, both of these accounts are queuing into basically the exact same MMR bracket, and on the Smurf, I have a 90% win rate. And I'm not saying that as if like I have a 60% win rate, and I'm exaggerating to make this story sound more interesting. I mean, if you literally calculate based on the games that I've won and the games that I've lost, I have a 90% win rate on the Smurf, and I have a fucking 20% win rate on my main. And I think that's over like 30 games on the Smurf, and then, I don't know, 15 or 20 games on my main. So it's not an unreasonable amount of games where it's not statistically meaningful. It is. So I have this like weird separation of like win rates between my two accounts. But all in all, it's going well because I'm winning most games. Just I'm doing it on a Smurf, but the Smurf is like about to strip my main and MMR. So it's like, is it really a Smurf at that point? I don't know.
Yeah.
I have some theories. I have some theories on why I've been winning on the Smurf. It's like, I really don't care about MMR on the Smurf. I don't get upset. I don't feel anxiety. I don't feel the like butterflies where it's like, oh fuck, we're losing this game. I don't feel those butterflies on the Smurf because it's like, you know what? If you want to flame me, if somebody's being an asshole to me and they're flaming me, or somebody's doing stupid shit, it's like, you're losing your own game. This is my Smurf. I don't fucking care if I lose. I'm just trying to play good Dota. So we'll go into the late game. That person will stop making stupid mistakes or stop flaming, or they'll keep flaming and I'll just mute them. And then we'll just fucking win the game because I'm huge on some like, Necrophos or Ursa or some typical offlaner that can do a decent job at carrying the late game. But on my main, it's like I have been yelling at people lately, which is not good.
Me too.
Like if somebody says one asshole comment where like they'll flame somebody or they'll make an excuse for something, I'll get pretty fucking mad. And that's not good. That's not a good way to be. It's just stress related, lots of stuff going on with like calibrating, and I'm moving, and there's a lot of issues whenever somebody's getting fucking angry at Dota. But on my Smurf, I don't do any of that shit.
Yeah,
because I don't care. Even if I'm at like a point in life where I'm really stressed, really want to win MMR, feeling toxic, anything like that, doesn't matter because
it just doesn't.
It's a Smurf.
Yeah.
Why would I fucking care? So yeah, would recommend Smurfing to everybody. I know Valve banned that or whatever, but they banned like boosting Smurfing. The Smurf that I have is like the same MMR as my main, so
it's just a different account.
It's a different account.
You don't care about for whatever reason because it's not like your main account.
I don't care about it because I have a legitimate mental illness addiction problem with MMR in Dota, and I think a lot of people in Divine and Immortal bracket have a legitimate. It's like a gambling addiction. It's like you're playing and you. It's not even the wins that keeps you going. It's like the losses and the feeling that like you want to feel better because of a win. But even if you win a lot, it doesn't really give you the feeling that you're hoping for. It's just the losses like drive you to keep playing and keep playing and keep playing. It's like gambling, man. I went to the casino a couple of weeks ago. It felt the exact same fucking thing as gaining MMR. Anyway.
Funny. By the way, do you see that people are tagging up as FaZe, like CCNC? Is FaZe Clan actually getting a Dota team?
I don't know if that's a meme or if
they're legitimately getting a Dota team.
If they're legit, yeah, I don't know.
Pretty weird Dota team to be getting if they are getting one, but
I mean, I would be hard pressed to say that team is going to last very long.
More than 2 days.
just due to the history of those players and North American teams containing NA stacks have not been looking good for the past like 6 months in terms of staying together as a team.
Yeah.
Let's just be real here. It's not been looking good. It's basically team that has stuck around, and Royoya just left them for Flying Penguins.
Yep.
So they're looking a little shaky here. We need Peter to come back from Europe and
yeah, right.
NA of all of its play.
Nip takes way too good of care of their players for him to do that.
That's true. They're a big org.
Yeah,
they got a lot of money.
Luke says, "How can I give money to Dota Alchemy?"
That's a very nice question.
Yeah, thank you for asking that.
Fucking hope you're serious.
I mean, you can check out our Patreon if you are serious about that, and you can just look at the different tiers. I'll link it in chat. You can just see if there's anything that you like, Luke.
We also do coaching sessions, but we're both like depressed pieces of shit. So if you're messaging us and we're not responding, it's not because we don't like you. It's because we're literally just like not getting out of fucking bed in the morning. That's Dota addiction right there in a nutshell, man. I'm sure half of y'all can relate, and then the other half have jobs
and contribute to society.
Yeah. Right. Unlike your boys at Dota Alchemy. I'm just kidding. I closed my Dota. It's taking so long to quit. I don't know why. It's this bug. Have you had that bug where you exit the game and it just
lags?
This has been in the game for so long. I'm sick of it, man. I have to sit here and wait for 10 minutes. I can't even see myself on the screen or see you or see the replay.
That's unfortunate. I'm assuming I just started sharing Dota with you so we can actually look at the same stuff. When are you both going to host a main event by Valve Majors and Minors?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I was going to go to an event at the end of the month, but there were some changes of plans in terms of I don't think there's going to be a live event for it. I don't know if I'm like spilling details, but I don't know. It's fine. I'm hoping that someday, maybe Donnie and I will see our way to an event together once again.
It worked for Tortellini. He made it to TI just by making guides, pretty much.
It's true. I guess there's this thing where it's like you feel like when it's you that it like couldn't be you. You know what I mean? It's weird. It's just maybe that's like that worked that season, but it's just not gonna work again. Dude, Dota might be dead in a year. How the fuck are we supposed to know? Maybe I'm just a pessimist.
It's definitely not gonna be, dude. I think that Dota's actually in like the best place it's been in since maybe like 2016 or something like that. Just with all the auto chess people coming over, I feel like a lot of people are coming out of the woodwork to play again. It
is pretty good, but I'm worried that it's just a fad, and then once it dies out, like Dota's gonna kind of go back to being declining or plateauing.
Maybe.
There's nothing wrong with plateauing. Actually, there's a video that we made about that recently. There definitely is something wrong with plateauing. If you're not plateauing, if you're plateauing, you're not improving, and not improving. It's like that's what the whole human existence and the human spirit is about. You're only happy if you're improving day by day. It doesn't matter if you're rich as fuck or poor as fuck. If you're improving between days, you'll feel better in the second day. That's just how she goes.
Tortellini has quit creating guides. We have guides. I can show you. We have guides for every single hero in the game. You can see them all right here. We have every single one of them up to date. Mostly up to date with 721. I haven't added Midas to a lot of them, which I should. And I need to take out a few of the like null talismans and stuff. But yeah, every single one of the heroes has a guide. So sometimes they don't show up because they don't have quite enough ratings and stuff, but you can also access them through my Steam profile.
It's a solid build.
Just watched Good Boy on TI9 in China and China policy on banning people. Any thoughts about that? Personally, I really don't enjoy Goodbye's content. I think he's just like overly dramatic and makes a big deal out of nothing.
Well, he wasn't asking about Good Boy. I think he was asking about the China drama.
Well, yeah, but I also just think that his entire video is just blowing.
Fuck Good Boy.
It's just blowing out. It's blowing everything out of proportion just for views and clicks on YouTube. Is my opinion on it.
It's true, but is that not what the media does in the first place?
It's true.
it's not us. It's not us, and I wouldn't want to do that. But anybody who's like creating a conversation or getting interest in anything Dota related, I fuck with it. You know, sure, go for it. Like it's not something I would personally do, but if you're creating a niche, like creating drama and Dota and shit, I think drama is great. I think drama is awesome. It gets people interested. Unless it's some like negative drama, like the cuckoo shit. I don't think that was. I think that was making people think Dota players were a bunch of racists, which is accurate, but
Jesus, dude,
not great. Not great to have that image, but you know, stuff like that. I think I'm cool with it.
Why are the guide ratings low? It's because like 5 people have upvoted them, and so they went from 50%, which is what they start out at. Every single one of them starts out at 50%, and then however many people upvote it increases it. So you can see that some of the more popular ones, Florida, are 61%. Yay!
There you go.
You know, like I forget what our most Spectre 72%. The more people that use them, the higher they are. So that's why. They're like the same guys that I made all of these guys for Pugna, and then I made them again for Dota Alchemy. So they've been in the game for a while. People just don't see them because Tortellini has been the only one that shows up for most people. But that'll eventually change.
I'm looking at the replays right now, by the way. If it looks like I'm inquiring into something.
Yeah, give me a replay ID, dog. Let's get into it.
I'm trying to. When was the last replay review session? So that would be the 7th. So anything the 8th onward.
Yes.
Okay, got you. Sweet. So there's a decent amount in here. Okay, so what we're gonna do this time for the replay review session is we basically decided that for each of the replays we want to go through and just talk about like one concept or one lesson, because a couple of reasons. So anytime like excuse me, I'm drinking beer, so this is gonna make me burp a lot. But anytime I'm about to coach somebody, or anytime I do like a replay review, anything like that, I basically say, like my brother-in-law, for example, he asked me to go over a replay with him, so I did, and he was questioning certain concepts and stuff, but I saw like one key area that I thought that he should focus on. And the reason that I think it's so important that like I'll always tell people you should focus on one thing is just because, like, number one, have you ever tried like trying to learn to ride a bike and play a trombone and do backflips on the trampoline like all at once? Yeah, neither fucking have I, because like you can't learn all of those things at once because they're all relatively complicated concepts. So basically, like, I think it's just better to focus on one concept at a time, because that way you're going to guarantee that you're actually going to learn that concept. And then also, if you master a certain topic in Dota, a certain concept in Dota, then everything else will eventually follow. If you get good at split pushing, this is the example I always use. If you get good at split pushing, then team fights in the late game will be easier because you'll have more items. The enemy team will be dragged around the map to deal with you because they feel more pressure because you're not dying. So you'll win games because your team fights in the late game are going better, but you'll also win games because the enemy team is 5-manning to you and wasting time, so your teammates will win you games more. And then also, your split pushing will literally get you more towers, so you will have a more map control in these games, which will result in your team getting more farm, which will result in the team fights getting better. And you can see how these things all kind of play into each other. So essentially what I'm saying is there is huge value in investing heavily into mastering one concept and a huge amount of risk in trying to master like a bunch at once, because chances are it's all going to go into your short-term memory. For a few games you'll do it and it'll work, and then it'll all just be lost, and other stuff will come into your short-term memory because it's limited. It's like RAM on a computer compared to like using the hard disk memory, like the heavy or whatever called, hard storage, whatever it's called. Anyway, one lesson at a time. That's what we're going to do.
Jenkins, do you talk a lot IRL as well? Is a question in chat.
Yes. Yes, am I back from the in-laws? No, I'm not. My brother-in-law's watching the dog.
Basically, what he's saying is we're going to go through a lot more replays, which means that we can actually get to some chat replays this time. We're going to basically look at a replay until we find one point that you can learn from, and then we're going to go on to the next one, and we're not going to spend like 25 minutes on a replay.
Donnie, excuse me. I already said that. Like, why are you repeating what I said? And you're just talking so much. Come on, man. What the fuck?
Because people need me to break down what you're saying because you just monologue forever.
It's true. It's actually true. I'd be lost without you. Never leave me. All right, we got Code Rad here, and Code Rad said, I'll just post it to you. So he said, I was Shadow Fiend on mid versus Tiny. Finally, we're getting a mid replay, which is great. We actually don't get a lot of these, surprisingly. How should I have dealt with Tiny? I got absolutely destroyed. My skill level is probably Herald. I've never calibrated before. Okay, so I think for this one, this is also something we want to do, like talk about what we want to focus on. So if you think that your skill rating is probably Herald, and I know you're probably joking, but if you're 1K Mamar around that mark and playing unranked and stuff like that, maybe we should focus on just like basics for this one, like very basic stuff.
Yeah, like we can just talk about laning mechanics, because I mean, hey, laning against the Tiny is a nightmare, right? As a Shadow Fiend, like you're supposed to get completely obliterated in this lane, so if we just kind of explain how to deal with that, that might be a good idea.
Yeah. So this is laning. We want to stay a little bit away from laning.
Oh shit. Not down.
Oh, that's unfortunate. This is from 2/2/2019. So the replay is kind of
yeah, it's too old. It's got to be. It's 8 days, I think it saves for, right?
Okay, I can tell you, just in case you're watching, or if you watch this like from the Patreon, and it like I can still give you some insight into this game. I would say against a Tiny who's supposed to obliterate you in lane, and by the way is probably a Smurf.
Yeah.
What you should essentially do: push the wave with raises, jungle. Push the wave with raises, jungle. Even if he denies every single creep in the lane on you, you're never going to die to him because you're never at the lane, and then you'll jungle, so you will get effectively the exact same amount of experience and gold, if not more, than just winning the lane. Anytime you're in a losing lane in the mid lane, if you have an ability to push the lane, you should do it. And it's the best way to just never lose a lane. It's kind of like in the side lanes, you pull to never lose the lane, because you'll just constantly push, pull. You're going to farm something. You'll farm the jungle, you farm the creeps under the tower. The exact same thing with the mid lane, except with pushing the lane, because the lane will be pushed back from the enemy tower. You won't lose anything, and in that time, you can go jungle. Very simple way of just winning any mid lane. It's basically what every mid laner does right now, because mid is boring. But
yeah, and wouldn't you say, or I would probably go pretty all in on that, knowing that you're against a Tiny in the mid lane. Like, there's basically no way for you to ever get last hits in the first couple of waves. So I think you just even start out with raise at level 1 and just immediately raise out the wave, and then you just show up with maybe some clarities as well, because that's going to help you jungle that medium camp. And then once you have maybe level 3 and you've got 2 points in Necromastery or something like that, then you could actually contest the Tiny for last hits. But before that, it's never going to happen. I've actually seen Sumail do this on Shadow Fiend a number of times. Like if he's up against a Huskar or something like that, yeah, or a Bloodseeker, like somebody that just destroys Shadow Fiend in the first couple of levels as far as getting all his last hits, Sumail will walk up to the first wave and then he'll just immediately raise it out. He'll make sure he gets the range creep with his raises, and then he'll just leave the lane and go jungle.
I think I recall like Kyle was casting, or somebody who's like or maybe it was Fogged. Basically somebody who's 7K MMR, plays mid, capable of playing mid. I'm just gonna sound like I'm insulting other analysts here, but basically somebody who's good at pubs is gonna know their lane matchups well. And they said something along the lines of like, on SF, if you start with raise first, it's like very risky. It's like a high skill thing, because you don't. Well, then again, it's like I guess you're saying like you're not going to get the last hits anyway in the first wave. I was going to say though, like if you're not building those Necromastery stacks early on it, really punish, and they can snowball you on you. And then also like the level 1 raises don't or they cost a lot of mana. I would just say like be careful with that. Be a little careful with that. But,
yeah, but I mean, if you're against something like a Tiny, you're never actually going to get a last hit.
I'm just worried about like wasting mana early, when you could save the mana, get kind of fucked up in the early game, but then just triple raise the wave jungle, triple raise the wave jungle.
Sure.
Anyway, it's so like tangential.
All right, next replay, since we can't actually get into this one.
I should have been looking for this as we were talking, actually. Okay. God, Discord always scrolls me down to the bottom when I exit out of it. It's very annoying.
Yeah.
So, hey guys, Nature's Prophet. Ooh, this hero is... I considered making this the underrated hero of the week.
Yeah, it seems to be pretty good.
I think Nature's Prophet's pretty fucking amazing. I think it's like one of the best supports in Dota right now.
As a 5 or 4, would you say?
Both.
Nice. Match data not found. Did you give me the full number?
Let me see.
Did they give us the full number?
That's the number that's there. So that's interesting.
So ripping pepperonis. I'm gonna restart Dota and see what happens.
Does that work? I don't think that ever works. Drunk Jenkins equals great Jenkins. I'm not drunk. I barely had any. Look at this. This is basically water. It's not gonna get me drunk. I should get drunk though. Actually, do you want to get drunk on stream? Is that legal on YouTube?
I don't know.
They don't.
Sure,
they don't
why
allow
not?
that on Twitch. I know.
All right, match data not found. All right, we're 0 for 2. Maybe we can get a replay review going at some point.
That's not good. This is not great. All right. Hi guys, Divine 2 Slaughter. Did my best to help my team and pressure top as well to make sure my cores can have space. Also, I'm aware that somebody must rotate mid to help my Tiny, but my supports never bothered rotating and helping him, and I'm not really sure what to do, so I just did my best in the lane. I lost this game as I tried really, really hard, and I can't figure out what I'm doing wrong. Please help. I'm also really eager and desperate to learn offlane. This is great. I love offlane replays, and I love that it's Divine too. So I would say that just from what you've written so far, it sounds like in this game
You probably tried to do too much.
Somebody was bitching for help, and you tried to do too much.
Yeah.
So I want to look for that situation in which you made a bad rotation. That's what I want to look for, because just from what you've written here, it sounds like you got pressured into a bad rotation. You get anxious. Like I get the same thing where it's like I'll be playing with people, they'll be bitching. Some guy will, I don't have a really deep voice or something, so it's like, oh, he sounds like my dad, so therefore, I have to help him because it's that father figure sort of thing. This is getting really weird. I was doing a joke initially, but it got really weird. But essentially, somebody will make you feel pressured to do something, and then you make a stupid decision, and then it's very game losing. But from the sounds of things, like just doing the best in your lane when the other lanes are losing as an offlaner is generally okay. Like that is perfectly fine, even as a support. Like you want to win your lane first and foremost,
Yeah.
Okay. So we got an Arc Warden mid. This is versus the Tiny, and you're versus like a Lifestealer plus Coddle. You have potentially Dazzle Slardar, Lion Slardar. Okay. I still think you guys have a decently strong lane up here. You could kill the Coddle.
It's nice to see somebody with decent starting items.
Well, the divine player.
As to be expected, yeah. That's to be perfectly honest, you guys. Look at these items. These are the kind of items that you should be buying to start a game in pretty much every role. It's like a defensive item that allows you to get last hit, stat shield, and then a bunch of regen. And you're gonna trade that regen for gold in the first couple of waves.
I would say that this is a sort of lane where you want to pull the second wave. You want Lion to pull the second wave, because you don't win this lane by just staticking and farming. Like, if you're just trying to trade with the Lifestealer Coddle, they will outtrade you. Lifestealer just loves the fact that you're a tanky strength hero. He's going to get so much HP off of you. Like, you cannot harass that hero. It's
likely going to be a Tusk as well, I would imagine, because I feel like Pango probably just gets left alone.
Yeah, possibly. That's a huge concern. That's a good ward for cutting the wave as well, but you would want the line to basically set up and just go hide in the trees over here. You could tell him to do it, or you can do it and tell him to soak the first wave, cut the second wave. Anytime you're I like the fact that you're spamming the pig balloons, by the way. That's definitely a good play. Okay, so you're going to fight the rune because you have 2 stuns. He goes in rage at level 1, so that's pretty good. You at least force him to go rage, so he's not life-stealing off of you.
Yep. And, I mean, you eat some harass, but you have 6 tangos, a branch, and 2 mangoes, so that's not that big of a deal. I don't love going Slithering Crush at level 1 anymore. I think it's pretty bad.
I think it's pretty good.
Really? I think the bash is better.
It's about the slow on the stun.
Yeah, like but in this lane, I feel like he's never really going to be able to threaten anything. I feel like the bash is better for securing last hits and even just like harassing.
I don't think you want to harass in this lane. I think that you should pull the second wave. I think that going stun is fine to secure the bounty rune, but you need to be using the stun in this lane to stun him and secure a deny, or stun him and secure last hit.
Yeah, that's fair. Or trade
this
like
harass
that.
Is like, I mean, it's trading, but it's with a lifestealer, so he's just gonna eventually lifesteal it back.
Right.
I really think the way you win this lane is by like farming up until the point that you can actually kill them and you have levels, and then you kill them. But like you're gonna just wasting mana in the early game, I think.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. That's something that a lot of people don't recognize, is like you could get a kill at like level 4 maybe, but
For sure.
if you spend all of your time harassing at level 1 and 2, you likely will not have enough mana or HP to actually get the kill at level 4, and people just tend to get aggressive from the very beginning instead of kind of biding their time for the right moment.
Right. Well, they're actually better at harassing than you
Yeah.
are at level 1 and 2. He's just an idiot, so he went for the enrage instead of the what's it called, the lifesteal, which
Open wounds or
no, feast. Like everybody's going just feast first because it just lets you sustain in the lane, like as if nobody's hit. Every single offlaner right now is like a harass melee tanky offlaner guy. This guy is just totally out of position and deserves, like, the reason you're winning this lane is because they're putting themselves out of position, which it does happen in Divine, but you can see how much like potential they have to harass you guys with that blast. I don't know why he's walking up and like hitting you. Even with enrage first, they killed you. That's because like they just trade way better than you.
Yeah.
Fighting into a Coddle is hard, but killing a Coddle is easy. But you want to do that. This is actually something that I realized. Well, I was talking about playing on my Smurf, playing on my main, and when I'm on my main, I feel a lot of pressure if the game is like being lost or if we aren't winning, because it's like, oh my god, we need to do something. But if I'm on my Smurf, I don't feel any pressure, and then because I'm a decent player, eventually something happens where I outplay the enemy team, and then I'm huge and we're winning. So like basically what I'm saying is you don't have to be winning straight from the get-go of Dota. You can be going even and then capitalize on a power spike, and then because you are a skilled player, you will be huge. Like you don't have to be fucking annihilating these people straight from the get-go. You can basically go and then annihilate them when you're level 4 instead, because it's easier to do that at level 4.
Yeah, I think that is probably the most important point that we might even talk about in this replay. We will go look at the rotations, but I think that is applicable to everybody, which is just that, like, of course, if you don't have the knowledge of the laning matchups, maybe, then you just need to play more to get that. But if you have some inkling of how the laning matchup is going to go, and you realize that you're not quite as strong as them, don't try to outplay, like, this matchup. This matchup is bad for the first few levels, and then it gets better. And if you're trying to outplay it early on, you're literally just digging yourself a hole, because the matchup's gonna come around. It's like trying to, I don't know, I'm gonna come up with some really terrible analogy, but it's basically the whole point of Dota is to capitalize on specific timings and mistakes by the other team. And quite frankly, you're just making a mistake, hoping that they make an even bigger one if you're trying to outtrade a matchup that's better than you.
I would just say, like, a good principle in Dota is that you don't need to feel any pressure. Like, if a good opportunity has not presented itself to make a play to kill your opponent, then that is the case. Like, don't try to force that situation to occur, because if you are just playing good Dota, then eventually at a certain point, you will have an opportunity to shut down this lifestealer. Once you're level 6, you can smoke through the jungle, go with the Lion, have him Hex, kill him with Bash, and when you have the ultimate on Slaughter, like, there are so many opportunities, and it can be very game losing because you're not in a situation where you're seeing those opportunities, because they just don't happen when you're in the early game, to essentially throw it all away. Like, this is a lane that at this point you guys could be crushing, but it's quite hard for you because, well, then again, you don't have, your CS isn't that bad because you guys are kind of playing decently and they're kind of playing not that great. But in any case, like, you could be destroying this even harder if you just, I really think, like, this is something that I had to learn as an offlaner, where it's like, I want to be the guy that's applying pressure, so a lot of games I would throw the game away trying to apply that pressure when it just wasn't an optimal time for me to do that. But then, like, you cut the creep wave and you go even, it's like, oh, it doesn't feel good because you're supposed to be the guy that's owning, you're supposed to be the guy that's pressuring. But then you get to a certain point where you feel so much stronger and you can actually apply pressure at that point, even though you and the Nakes might have equal farm at that point. That's when you can start getting ahead in terms of farm. You don't have to start getting ahead in terms of farm early on into the game. And I really mean that. Like, that's something recently that, playing between my Smurf and my main, I've realized that on my main I feel so much pressure to do shit, when eventually you'll just be strong and it's way easier for you to be like, oh yeah, I can go do this. It's so much easier with like a Blink Dagger to go do something on Starter. It's so much easier when you have treads to dive them and be aggressive because you're so fucking tanky with those items. Like there's so much you can do later on into the game, and if it feels like you can't do anything, it's probably because you can't. Like you don't need to overwhelm yourself and try to do shit.
Yeah,
this guy's just feeding.
Yeah, he is just feeding.
But you can see how strong you are at this point. You actually are quite strong.
Yeah, right. We were talking about level 4. Oh, look, he just man fought a lifestealer in a creep wave and won.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a level 2 bash with the crush paired with the Q to like kite them.
Yep.
You're really strong at this point, but it's unfortunate because like probably at this point you could be level 6, level 5.
Okay, so I wanna go to the point where he's rotating because I want to know like when that actually happens. Okay, so he rotated to the bottom lane.
So let's see. I want to see what actually happens here. So this is like okay. So back up a little bit because it's important to know like whether this is a defensive or aggressive rotation. So it looks like, so you're running back to base. So this is a good time to TP out. Like I definitely agree with this timing. Pangolier is a hard kill. Your PA is level 8 though. Topangolier is level 7, so you feel relatively strong. So my concern is that it looks like you might be doing a defensive rotation, but after the PA is already dead. And
PA is not even dead. So we're gonna see the TP happening. Oh, so he TPs after Dazzle dies to the Pango. Okay. So this doesn't make any sense. Like, I guess he probably TP'd because he was looking, he saw the snowball with the tag team, but it went on the Dazzle instead of the PA.
I think this is a fine. I think this is like an excusable rotation, even if you fuck up here. I think this is fine because Lion's farming top, and your PA probably doesn't want to just sit in this lane and contest it anyway because it's getting to that point. And okay, so they don't die, but you get 3 people to sit bot. Now PA should leave and go jungle, or go to the top lane where is now the safe lane because you made this rotation. So that guy ends up getting himself killed. I definitely think it's a little, well,
overly aggressive there.
Maybe. It's a little overly aggressive. Kind of seems like you're forcing the issue a little bit because you made the rotation.
Right, like I got here and now I have to get kills, otherwise I'm wasting my time, which is not really the way you should be thinking about it.
I think like PA can chill in the woods and jungle and stuff, or maybe TP top or do whatever. But once again, this kind of goes back to like if there's an opportunity happening, that's the case that occurred. Like you don't need to make these opportunities happen unless you really feel like you can do it, like you've made the calculation, you know what I mean? But if you're just allowing your teammates or your enemy team to make these calculations, which actually aren't calculations because they're just feeling impulses and crying and reacting, then you're gonna just basically have randomness occur in whether or not your ganks are successful, your rotations are successful.
Yeah.
But I do think that rotation was good, but it's just like once the rotation didn't result in a kill, that's fine because PA could just go do something else because the carry doesn't want to be in that lane at that point. Because as you could see with the 3 heroes, that was the pressure location.
Right.
But it was kind of like forcing the issue, which you eventually did get kills, but it does kind of hurt your game a lot as a Slardar to be dying, even if it's the results in your PA getting some farm. You had already achieved what you wanted to do from that rotation, which is force the entire enemy team bot. They can't do anything to you if you're just playing safe. Like they were already losing the game at that point. And once again, we kind of have another situation where it's like forcing the issue. You guys are really focusing kills with the rotations, and this is something that I had to be taught from he who shall not be named, a coach, you know, back in the day of Jenkins playing competitive Dota. But basically, like the point of a rotation is a lane rotation is not to get kills. It's to put multiple heroes in an area of the map. Like it's about changing the location of your heroes on the map, forcing the enemy team to a location, getting them to reveal themselves, having your PA go top. Like once you had rotated, even if the kill is the cherry on top, you want the kill because it makes it better. It makes it, you get more gold. They have to TP somebody to a lane after that. But forcing a kill is like totally against the purpose of a rotation. Because the kill doesn't matter. If the entire enemy team is top dealing with your bullshit, you're already fucking winning. That was already a great rotation. And you just got to let it be.
Right.
You know?
Like, at this point, you know, you have to also kind of think about things. This Pango just TP'd in, and you have 400 HP and 150 mana. Like, would you ever take a fight voluntarily? If you were to leave the base with 400 HP and 150 mana, would you voluntarily try to fight? Probably not, but just because you see them continually showing up in front of you, you're feeling super empowered and like bloodthirsty because you've already gotten a couple of kills, it feels like. Like right here, this is just, why even make this dive? It's actually the hardest hero to kill on their entire team, a Pangolier. He has multiple escapes. You guys have no actual mobility other than the Blink Strike, which is not actually providing any lockdown. And you have no vision behind this tower where these TPs are coming in. So it just seems like you've gotten enough. You've killed their Lifestealer. You killed their Coddle. Why do you need more, especially when you're risking yourself, now that you're actually vulnerable because you're low on HP and mana when you weren't before when you got them?
I think the biggest thing for you to focus on when you play future games is just, and lane rotations are really important. Like in competitive, that's literally almost always the way. 90% of the time, that's almost always the way that the laning phase is ended, is one team will make a good lane rotation. And it kind of happened in this game. After the bottom lane rotation, just fighting. But when you're making lane rotations, you need to think about the purpose of the rotation. It is almost never to get a kill, unless it is specifically like, there's an anti-mage, we're rotating into the jungle to kill him because we have a Medusa. I don't know. But basically, like, you need to be thinking about the purpose of the rotation, and it is almost like this guy's free farming, right? So yeah. If you're forcing his team around, that's good, because then you can move to the other side of the map, maybe smoke to him when they don't have TPs available. So like your whole purpose could be shutting this guy down, right? If that's your purpose, then that's good. But with that purpose in mind, like, still the kills don't matter on his team, because it's just about forcing them to show themselves, forcing them to give you map control, so that way you can execute better ganks on this dude. I'm not saying that should be what your focus is in this game. I haven't looked at the drafts really, but basically, when you're making a rotation, the point is not kills. The point is to change where you're positioned on the map, to change where the enemy team is positioned on the map, to get them to reveal heroes in the lane, to put multiple heroes in a lane in terms of your team, so you have 2 cores in a lane and you can get a tower. Like, the purpose is almost never kills, and if you just stop focusing on the kills in terms of those rotations, I think you'll win a lot more.
Yep. All right, give me the next replay.
Okay.
We tried to go for only 1 point. We still went for 15, 20 minutes.
I think the not focusing on kills with the rotations is an important thing, because that's what He Who Shall Not Be Named taught us as a team, and we got fucking way better.
Yep.
Way better off of that, because you just force the enemy team around the map. You'll feel like you're just in such control of the game if you do that. You're just yo-yoing them around like they're I don't know, puppet or something like that, and you're controlling them anyway.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if we even look at this draft, I don't think that you even need to really be worried about killing people and shutting them down. Like, Arc Warden's difficult, but you also have a PA and a Slardar. We're good at jumping him.
So RFX posted a Lich position 5. Are you here, RFX? Because I don't really want to do any more like laning stuff, just because I feel like every week we just ham on the laning. So I'll save this one and we can go back to it.
He posted the ID for that one that had match not found, so I'm gonna try that.
Okay.
But there was a number missing. Which was the Nature's Prophet.
Donnie was coached by Voldemort. Oh, that's fucking funny. Good one, Kyle. John says he's good.
I mean,
today I learned John Callahan is RFX. Holy shit! I have seen you. No, that makes sense now that I'm thinking about it. This makes a lot of sense.
Funny.
Okay. Position. Oh, Algod says position 4 Spirit Breaker. Wondering if we could look at 30 minutes onward.
Nice.
Yes, we would love to do that.
Let's do this Nature's Prophet first, though.
Okay, sure. Kegels all day. Oh my god. My first interaction with John Callahan was him telling me that I should start doing Kegels to help with my depression.
That's funny.
Isn't that fucking amazing?
Okay, so Let's see. He says, since my lane stage was quite different, I tried to focus on killing the Terrorblade illusions in order to win last it. I also tried to participate in favorable team fights, but got hooked too often, unfortunately. When I realized I was too underfarmed compared to their cores, I focused on hard split pushing, but didn't work out as I hoped. I used to be Divine 1, but I guess I'll end up as Herald because I have a 1 and 3 win-loss score of the calibration. Trust me, you're not going to end up as a Herald.
You won't. I calibrated 500 MMR lower, and I went 1 and 9 in calibration, so you're fine. Don't worry. I was just, I was testing the waters for the Alchemist. Like, I was just seeing, last year I calibrated high. I won all my calibration matches, so this year I'm just going to see for the Alchemist, for the Alchemy fans, what will happen if I lose 9, And I can tell you guys, it's only 500 MMR. It's not that big of a deal. My test has been done, and next season I'm definitely going to calibrate to 7K for sure.
Perfect.
Anyway.
Well, okay. So, I mean, just from that description, it sounds like, again, this sounded to me like he was trying to do too much. He's like, and then playing very reactively. He's trying to do one thing, and then he doesn't work. Then he tries to do another thing, it doesn't work. And he tries to do another thing, it doesn't work. Tries to do another thing, it doesn't work. So we'll see. But yeah, my guess is that he gets kind of owned in lane, and then he's just teleporting to every single fight that he can and feeding in the fights, especially since he died 10 times.
Hey man, that's nature's prophet for you, man. He's hit or miss. 10 deaths, that's an average for me.
But this is a position 3 prophet, so.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, this game, I'd say that split pushing until Invoker is really farmed is probably your play, or I guess unless Morphling has like a BKB. But you guys really need BKBs to fight, or to have a huge advantage. So I definitely think split pushing is your play. Like, the way that you take fights is not by 5v5ing into them. It's by splitting them up. Yeah. Well, you could get BKBs in 5v5 into them if you have an item advantage. It's just you need that advantage. But with Morph, Invoker's really your only hero that's like Invoker CM are your only heroes that are like okay at fighting the Radiant Draft, but like
yeah.
OD is gonna destroy your Morphling, and Invoker, Necrophos doesn't take damage from all your right clicks. Terrorblade has super high armor, you have a bunch of right clickers, and kind of magic damage coming out of Invoker. He's kind of like 50-50. Depending on what build he goes, but
yep.
And yeah, it's hard to fight into.
So in this laning stage, would you be focusing? What the hell happened to Discord? Hell, Discord just crashed. Why is it just giving me a gray box? All I see is a gray box and I can't even close it. I'm so confused. The fuck? It's just a gray box. That's all I can open for Discord. I can't even close my Discord. I'm gonna control it, delete it. See if I can reopen it that way. Alright. It wouldn't be a replay review stream without some technical difficulties, let's be honest, you know? Hello, Discord, where'd you go? Oh my god. There's some big Discord update.
Ass!
Hello.
How dare you?
There's some big Discord update that like crashed my Discord and then wouldn't let me restart it.
Dude, my Discord's been crashing for days.
That's very
No
annoying.
joke. Yeah, it's real fucking annoying. I don't want to watch the laning stage on this though because
Yeah, fine.
yeah, we just do a lot of laning.
No
stuff.
more laning. All right, we're gonna go 20 minutes. That seem good enough?
Dead.
All right, we'll go back just a little bit to see how he dies. Okay, so
I see.
Treads meteor hammer.
I see. Yes. That's how you died. Okay. So this is actually a concept that it's so apparent on Nature's Prophet always when people play it, because this is the most important concept on Nature's Prophet, and that's split pushing. But this is a concept that I recently spoke to my brother-in-law about, and in the intro I already said why I think it's so important to learn how to split push correctly, but I'll repeat it here just for anybody that wasn't watching, because we only had like 30-40 viewers or whatever at the start. So basically, the point of split pushing is not to do damage to towers. It's not to get the farm in the lane. It is to force the enemy team to show themselves and to deal with you. When you push that wave into their tower, they were already dealing with you. And if you had already done your job. You had fulfilled your purpose. In fact, if you had just gone back and jungled, the amount of time that it takes these heroes, including 2 cores, by the way, Necro and OD, to run down to this location, your team will outfarm them. You can very easily win games on Nature's Prophet, and this is how, if you watch really good Nature's Prophets play, they will push lanes until the enemy team has to deal with them, go jungle, push lanes, go jungle, push lanes, go jungle, and they will never die. And because of that, they will farm jungle in areas that they couldn't otherwise farm, because the enemy team is busy dealing with those creeps that they were pushing in. So essentially, when it comes to split pushing, I would say that do not focus on these last hits. Just send treants down the lane. Well, this is fine actually, because you see the enemy heroes on the map.
Right.
But the moment they go missing,
right
this is when you turn around, right here. This is when you go away and you have done your job. Because they're respawning, you see that they've gone missing, and when you see these good Nature's Prophets using meteor hammers on tower, it's not because they are trying to do it in every possible time that they can, and they're trying to split push, and it's about the tower damage. It's the enemy team is allowing me to do this by showing elsewhere. Like, I guarantee you, go watch Bulldog play this hero, and you'll see that if you look at his player perspective, when he's hitting towers, it's because the heroes that can kill him are in vision. And the moment that they're not in vision, his hero will move away. The moment they're in vision, he'll move back. And you can kind of trace it and see that he is essentially playing aggressively like you're doing here while they're in vision, and playing defensively and just pushing the wave when they're not in vision. And if you do that, you will be 10x the Nature's Prophet that you are now, because this is basically the sole reason that the hero is good in the mid game, is that you can safely push every lane with TP and treants, and then if they do leave and show like they're showing here with these 3 heroes, you can see literally all of them, then you can damage the towers. Like, that's the reason that he's good, but you have to leave when they're not in vision. And I just realized that's a pun because he's like a tree hero and I keep saying leave, but you have to leave when they're not in vision and play aggressively when they are in vision. If you do that, you're a way better Nature's Prophet. That's literally all you need to change, and so much will occur from that. Like, your team fights will get better, like I mentioned in the intro. The enemy team will have less farm, so your Morphling will have a better game because they're so busy dealing with you that Morphling will just have, so he won't even know why. He'll just be like, well, this is an easy game. It's because of you. It's because you're causing the enemy team to come to your location always, and Morph is just going to find that he has an easy game. It doesn't matter who that player is. If you are on their team, he will have a good game. Like, so many things will come from this that I don't even want to continue into this replay, because this is enough to win you hundreds of MMR. If you can start playing like a big bitch when they're not showing, and playing like a giant man with huge pecs like Donnie when they are showing. That's when you want to play like a big pecked man.
Yeah, and the only thing that I wanted to add to this is, to do this correctly, you need to have a internal clock in your head, basically. So you can see, like right here, so we've been showing for a while because we're just hitting this tower. Nobody's responding. You can see people over here. You can see people over here. Purple is now off the map, so you should take note of that. You're still showing in lane, so they've had vision of you for a long time. This is probably too long for them to have vision of you, but because there's fights going on, it's okay. Now they're all off the map, and since they're all off the map and you've been showing for a good 30 or 40 seconds in this lane taking tier 2 tower, you're still pushing this wave, you should know with 100% certainty that they are coming for you now. So like you said, at this point you should back up like Jenkins was talking about, but you should just kind of have this clock. Okay, I'm showing in lane, like even like you were saying, pushing these creeps is like almost too slow. Because you're just standing here right-clicking these creeps. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Here's how I explained it to my brother-in-law recently, is that if you put your treants on those creeps, 50-50, you get the last hit, right? Maybe you can micro them and get the last hit, but if you just send the treants down the lane, you might get the last hit. But guess what? If you're jungling and your treants are hitting that creep, then you're going to get the jungle last hits, and then you might get that last hit. So you're actually going to get more farm by sending your treants down the lane and going to jungle. Then, like, but the problem is, like, because of the laning phase and how important CSing is, people seem to think that CSing is still really important outside of the laning phase, but it's not. The farm doesn't matter. You'll get just as much farm in the enemy jungle, farming ancients, picking up bounty runes, getting kills. The creeps after the laning stage are about vision. They're about forcing the enemy team to deal with you. If you force the enemy team into vision, then that gives you options to make rotations around the map, because, hey, this guy's here because I forced him to show, now we can go Roche. This guy's here, let's go on him because he's showing because I forced him to show. But guess what you're doing if you're just hitting the wave and you're showing? You're giving them that opportunity that you're trying to make for your team by just hitting the creeps with your hero. That's why Nature's Prophet's amazing, is you can so safely do all of these things, and you just want to do that and go jungle, and you'll get the same amount of farm, but be so much more of a pain in the ass to the enemy team.
Yeah, and this could be extrapolated to any, like, a lot of these heroes. You know, every time I see a bounty hunter or a Pudge or a Nyx assassin or a Riki just showing in lane, hitting creeps for like 10, 15, 20 seconds, I'm just like, please, just stop showing. Like, your entire purpose of a hero is supposed to be that people don't know where you are, so they have to be scared of the entire map. And if you're
that's kind of like that's kind of like a different archetype of hero, but it's still, yeah,
it is,
like it still applies. But
like a good Nature's Prophet, like you said, will be all over the place. It'll feel like he's everywhere at once because he's showing in the bottom lane.
Sure.
You push it in the wave, you try to gank him, he's not there. Suddenly he's in the top lane pushing that wave. You're like, how the fuck do we catch this guy? Because he's just always gone.
It doesn't matter as much if Nature's Prophet is showing, because he can just like TP around, and it's
Right.
more about the person. Any person who is showing on the map is an opportunity to get killed. Like that's and okay. So this is something that, like, when I do coaching sessions, I always talk about this, and I just remember this. But this is a thing. Like what you're saying with the internal clock. If you're playing Immortal, 1 to 2 seconds of showing, you're dead. If you're playing in Divine, 4 to 5 seconds of showing, you're dead. If you're playing an Ancient, 6 to 7 seconds of showing, you're dead. It works like that, where better players, if you're Dota, you show at all, you're dead because they're already there, because they preempted your movements. So, like, the better people are, the quicker they will be at responding to your movements, to your showing. And the thing is, like, that's why pushing the creeps is so good. This Necrophos is being forced to show. What happens if there's an Invoker waiting here for him and he he kills the Necrophos? You can actually, instead of putting yourself in situations where you can get ganked by split pushing, you can actually set up for ganks while split pushing, because you're forcing people to show. You can take Roche on if you're split pushing. Like, it's all about the tertiary stuff that you get from the split pushing and killing of those creeps, rather than the killing of those creeps themselves. And like Donnie said, this matters a lot on any hero. I think that for like Riki, Pudge, those heroes, it is more about like not showing. But on like Weaver or Invoker or God, any core hero, you are going to be spending half the game split pushing. And of course it matters on those heroes. You want to be, you know, a kill threat elsewhere on the map. And if you're showing, you're not a kill threat elsewhere on the map. So that is a very important concept. But it's also like, if you're a Weaver and you're showing, what if you just get silenced from Fog? What if you just die? Like, you like, it still matters, you know? It's like every hero is a Nature's Prophet, essentially. Just this hero does this the most effectively. But every single hero, like on Weaver, for example, that's the example that my brother-in-law, we watched that game, and that's when I talked about his split pushing. I basically said to him, what you want to do on Weaver, press your Q, run through the wave with Invis, and then go away. Do not show even for 1 second on the lane. I know you won't get all the last hits, but once again, you just go to the jungle, you'll get those last hits, and then you're pushing that wave, and you have no risk of dying at all. And guess what? If the enemy team has a 10-0 Weaver on the enemy team, and he hasn't died once, do you know how much time they will waste investing to try to kill you? That in itself will be incredibly game-winning. And Nature's Prophet can be one of the most obnoxious heroes to deal with because of this exact concept. So essentially, like, I think that if you can master this one single concept, games will be so easy for you. And it's not just on Nature's Prophet. Any hero at all. Even these gankers like Pudge and Ricky and stuff like that. It matters on everything.
Yep. Okay.
Anyway.
Next replay. The Spirit Breaker. Yep.
Sure. 30 minutes onward.
30 minutes onward. We can.
Do you guys do live coaching while playing / laning with people, or only replay analysis? I've never done the playing laning with people, but I would definitely be.
I have. It's pretty awkward, but it definitely does work. Like, I think it works if you have like a support carry relationship with the person that you're playing with, or vice versa, where you can kind of like instruct them what needs to be done throughout that point. But then it gets kind of hairy as you get into like the mid game, because a lot of the time at that point you need to split up and you need to have them like be doing other stuff that you can't micromanage because you have to focus on other things. But yeah,
I've never done that, but I could see how it works. I keep talking to people about, oh yeah, we'll do coaching next week, and then I just forget.
I was thinking that we should really just make it a Patreon tier.
I don't know.
Anyway,
see,
we'll talk about that later. Let's get on to the replay.
Okay. It's like, I don't know, some weeks it's just like I don't do anything. I just don't do anything. That's all.
That's why I'll do it all.
That's how she goes on. I'm not gonna have you do that, man. I wouldn't make.
What if I want to?
I don't know. That's not fair. I got principles, man. That's not fair on you.
Anyway, we'll figure it out.
Okay. So.
Okay, state of the game. This is 25 minutes. It's close enough.
Let me ask a question. Does anybody on this team have an Urn of Shadows? Anybody on this team have an Urn of Shadows?
I'm gonna guess no. Oh, Crystal Maiden does.
Okay, Crystal Maiden has one. Interesting. I would definitely love to see Spirit Breaker get a Spirit Vessel, considering against 3 tanky heroes and a Timbersaw.
Yep.
Especially with the buffs to Spirit Vessel doing like quite a bit more damage now. I really like that item. I think it's great. I would actually say instead of in terms of itemization, instead of Shadow Blade, oh, man, probably Vlad's. Like, anybody have Vlad's, Crimson?
No.
These items, they fell off at the start of the patch. Now everybody's just going for them again.
Yeah, they're still super good.
Everybody just realized like they were way too good, and the nerfs to them don't really hurt at all.
Yep.
So it's like,
they just provide so much for your team. The one thing I will say is, like, if you guys are not fighting, you don't need to prioritize them as much. Just like, because if you have a Crimson Guard and it's just you like ganking one person and then getting out, it's not that important.
And the Silver Edge can take off the reactive armor too. So
yeah,
I like that. But look at Drow. Is Drow going for Shadow Blade? I would be concerned about like multiple Shadow Blades in this game.
He already has one.
What about Sniper?
He's going for one as well.
One.
Yeah, I don't think I would ever go Shadow Blade on Spirit Breaker. Like, to me,
if there's like a hero you really want to gank around the map.
If there's a Prophet, or like
Prophet,
yeah. But
or Sniper on the enemy team or something like that.
Yeah, I just like I'm really mostly against Shadow Blade on Spirit Breaker. I know it's good. I know the utility of it is very good, and the way that it works with charge is very, very good. I just think that, especially in pubs, there's like a 90% chance that somebody on your team is going to buy a Shadow Blade. Just anytime you queue into a pub, there's like a 90% chance that somebody's going to have a Shadow Blade on your team. Just
for every item in Dota, there's like diminishing returns on getting more of them too.
Yeah,
you're already forcing the invis detection from the enemy team because you have 2 Shadow Blades already being built.
Right. So yeah. Anyway,
I would say that it's also a concern in this game that you have Sniper Drow and you don't really have any frontline tank other than yourself, and I would say that kind of shoehorns you into going for an aura/tank build. Like, I unfortunately for you in this game, I don't think you have the opportunity to get damage items. You need to tank up because your Drow and Sniper honestly need people to run in like idiots.
Yep.
And die. But if you had like a pipe, you don't die there. and then your Drow, instead of just getting 2 kills here or 1, she gets 3 because you're still alive and they're still focusing you. I really think itemization in this game was an issue, and because that was an issue, like I think the underlying problem is definitely the concept of like
recognizing your role.
Right, requiring like a frontline tank in this game. Like you can put it even farther and say, yeah, you need to recognize your role, but whenever there's a sniper or a Drow, and in general in Dota, this is going to be true as well. Like you want some sort of frontline tank where they can get gone on, they get saved, the fight is turned, or you just run in and start a fight because you're strong, you have an Aegis. Like somebody doing that is incredibly valuable, and that's you. That has to be you because none of your other heroes can actually do it because you don't have any other tanky heroes. It's not Bloodseeker. Obviously, it's not Sniper or Drow or Crystal Maiden.
Yeah,
it's you. So I would say, yeah, definitely you gotta itemize. You gotta play towards what your job is in the game, and you'll have a lot better odds at winning. You might still lose if your team is doing dumb shit, but at least you're doing your job. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
In Dota, and then over a period of time, you'll consistently win more.
Yeah, I think that Spearbreaker actually works relatively well with this lineup just because you take so much focus every time you charge into the middle of things that if you do have things like, let's say you went for man, I don't know if Crimson is that useful in this game just because they have like a lot of pure and magic damage. So yeah, probably
pipe is good though.
Yeah, probably a pipe. I mean, you could even honestly just go for like the 3 bracers and then just build a BKB immediately afterwards. Like
that's actually fine too.
And just
the components to BKB are good as well.
You just run in, everybody goes on you press BKB, suddenly they lose 80% of their damage, and you're just kind of like distracting everybody while Drow hits for like 400 from the sidelines. So I think that's probably an easier way to play. And then you can just continue to go for more and more stuff like that. So it's like you could go BKB and pipe and Lotus Orb and like, you know, that's probably enough to just be a tanky enough nuisance to the other team to where they're not going to spend enough time killing the damage dealers on your team, and they're going to spend way too much time trying to kill you, and you might not even die.
Right. And I do want to take a little of the focus away from itemization for a second and just say that like in terms of that sort of thought process, your play style, understanding that you're a frontline tank also matters. Like playing towards just causing the most amount of havoc and chaos in fights, and playing in a way where you are baiting for your team and putting yourself in front of them and being a bodyguard for them, that matters as well. So we haven't really seen any fights, or at least we've been kind of rambling as the fights have been going on, but I would assume that if you're not itemizing in terms of being a frontline tank, then there's potential that you're not playing in the best possible way to be a frontline tank.
Yeah,
which would basically involve a lot of baiting, a lot of just being a total asshole and creating chaos as much.
Right,
as
and it would be completely the opposite of how most people play Spirit Breaker, which is not showing on the map, just kind of like sitting in the trees, waiting for a teammate to be gone on, and then counter initiating. That's not your job this game. Your job is to be up here, like literally just here at the tower, and allow your other 4 heroes to counter initiate on you. Like you should literally just have a BKB and run up and hit this guy, and then they will do stuff to you, and then your team can deal with that. Like your job is to make, it's kind of like the split pushing thing. Your job is to make the other team reveal where they are so that your damage dealers can target them.
I like the bracers though. I really like the bracers phase boots. I think that makes a lot of sense for what this hero like. In fact, I would argue that personally, like I was considering playing Spirit Breaker recently, and I was thinking like if I'm playing this hero, I'm gonna build auras. I'm gonna play it as like a tank. It's kind of how people play Earth Spirit and Tusk now as well, because they're just so effective at doing that. And if they don't do that, then they don't offer that much in the mid to late game. But if they do that, they actually scale into the late game because they're the tank.
Yep.
And all they need to have is HP and cause chaos, which they can do even though their spells don't scale that well into the late game.
I mean, you legitimately have a 60% stats resistance ability that combos so well with playing that tanky style.
For sure. It's really good. It's really, really good.
Okay, next replay.
I think that's enough. Yeah, I think that's enough because that's enough to focus on. I think where you'll win a lot more.
Yep.
Okay. Just scroll through all of these again. God damn it. Position 5 Lich, Position 4 Spirit Breaker, offlane Phoenix.
That's cool. I like Phoenix.
I'm not a huge fan of offlane Phoenix. I'm not a huge fan of that. I personally am of the opinion that he can do everything that he needs to do in a support role. Like whenever teams pick a Phoenix support competitively, the offlaner will be like a Centaur. They'll do offlane things, and then Phoenix will eventually farm anyway, and Centaur will kind of play to gank and stuff like that.
Yeah, but Pasha plays it that way. Okay, Big Red Dragon, Divine 5. Nice. Playing against some Immortals. Oh,
Cool.
he's playing against Gork. Sounds like.
37. Rank 37.
Playing with...
What a ridiculous game. Oh my god.
Yeah, this is pretty insane.
Goodness. Oh, he won. Oh my god, you're just showing us your replay where you won versus Gork.
Yeah.
You bastard.
Yeah, he
you
literally
bastard,
is.
You got us. Oh my god.
He literally is doing that.
Big Red Dragon.
Come
Phoenix
on.
is not a dragon, you fuck.
Come on, Big Red. What's your problem, man?
More like Big Red. I'm just kidding.
Douchebag. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, got him. Oh, he's gonna hate us. He's gonna unsubscribe and subscribe to Game Leap.
Wait, does that site still exist? Are they relevant?
I don't know. I think so. I watched one of their videos earlier today. It was pretty good. It was pretty sweet.
Damn, we just got another big patron.
It was pretty basic, though. What do you mean another big patron?
We got another Philosopher's Stone.
We did?
Yeah.
Holy shit. My god. Who was it? You called him out?
No, you can look on the email later.
Hell yeah, man. Fuck yeah. Thank you so much. Oh, I'd like... Oh, Dayman. Dayman gave me a video.
Nice. Yeah, we need to get some more videos for those people.
Yeah. People on YouTube, I'm watching. They're stealing content ideas, man.
Yeah, they are.
They're stealing. I'm watching, man. I don't want to call out because, you know, it's like if they're making good content, people are watching, sure. It's like not like you can, you know, have ideas. Ideas are not owned, but be original, you pricks. The funny thing is the video that I'm referring to is actually something that Dayman requested that we do, so it wasn't even my idea.
Yeah.
But apparently somebody thought it was good, and it took like the thumbnail and everything. God damn, YouTube is cancer, man. New Ebola cancer chlamydia build.
All right.
Shit's so
so reading about this, he says a bit of an unordinary game. Somehow we ended up with 8 divine players, 1 rank 300 immortal, 1 rank 30 immortal. I ended up getting carried hard, and I know Phoenix isn't super good against Lifestealer on the lane because he picked a bit too early. But I watched the Twitch VOD from Gork's perspective, and he was complaining about my laning. So I guess it might be a good point for me to improve. Also, I feel with a dual offlane, the enemy carry shouldn't have complete free farm, and I guess he probably did.
I don't think that's true. I don't think with once again, that is the offlaner pressure that you and I both feel because we're in the same role. You feel like you need to apply pressure, but you can't. To these heroes, you can't apply pressure until potentially you have an advantage and you have some levels. Then the things change. What maybe if like I don't know, Oracle roams or you swap lanes with the PL, like there are things that can happen once the game has progressed. Feeling like you have to pressure him is a problem. Your Shadow Shaman or you should be, once again, cutting the second wave because Bane, Lifestealer, is incredibly good at laning and sustaining.
Yeah, this is a nearly impossible lane for you two to have much of an impact in.
Wait until my video comes out tomorrow because I have my entire opinion on Lifestealer is that this hero is not good, but he is always laning and playing in these games where nobody counters him. Where's the Razor? Where's the Weaver? Where's the Ursa? Why does this guy have a free lane on Lifestealer? I hate it. Oh my god. And I think even in this scenario, like if he last picks Lifestealer, put the PL against him. Lifestealer doesn't apply pressure. He just takes pressure and handles it really, really well.
Yep.
Like, and then when he gets levels, he applies pressure. But a PL does not care about laning against a Lifestealer. He will farm freely. Basically, I think this hero needs to be countered in the laning stage a lot more. And what does an Oracle do, or a Shadow Shaman, or a Phoenix do to a Lifestealer? They're all magic damage.
Yeah,
he just presses Rage and runs at them.
Yeah, they do nothing.
Like out of the laning stage as well. Like this hero, man, he's not that good. It's just this is a free game for him. Bane Lifestealer, they should crush you guys.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, I think that all this trading with Bane is fine, but as you can see, he's just securing Gork.
Doesn't matter.
Perfect free farm. And you're still level 1, which is really bad because Phoenix is like one of the most level intensive heroes in the entire game. Like he's legitimately probably top 5 most level intensive hero in the game because he does nothing without levels. He doesn't even need items, to be honest. He just needs levels for the entire game. That was an
was
incredibly
nice.
aggressive, but it
that was
did
nice,
save.
though. That was really nice. See, mechanically, I'm assuming your name is Big Red Dragon because you're a Phoenix player. I can already tell mechanically, you know this hero.
Yeah.
You know this hero, but the issue is that if you know this hero and you don't know certain like laning tricks or mechanics when dealing with like a hard lane, for example, it's still going to hinder your ability to climb to Immortal to 7K. I would say that the main thing in this game is your purpose in this lane is to just get levels and salvage and cause chaos, pull the second wave with the Shadow Shaman, then pull the side camp, then pull the easy camp, then go cut the wave at the tier 3. Like, do whatever you can to just get farm in this lane, because this isn't a winning lane, and your inability to recognize that in this game is basically the only thing that I could see causing you problems, because mechanically, you've done cool shit so far. You've done stuff I would never think of doing on Phoenix. I would just have let that guy die there. I wouldn't try to risk that because I don't even know how much that thing slows for at level 1. If you put a gun to my head and ask me, I would say 50%. I don't know, dude. You know?
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, it's still an impossible game for you. 3 last hits.
I mean, if you can see, like, and it's gotten to the point because you spent so much time harassing this Bane and not getting any experience. Now Lifestealer can basically solo zone you, which is pretty terrible because you're a ranged hero. Lifestealer shouldn't be able to solo zone a ranged hero, but he can now because number one, you're a Phoenix, so strength hero, you have HP for him to eat. Number two, your cooldowns are so freaking long that you can't do very much. Yeah, 0 armor. And he's level 4 while you're level 2. So it's like I think that if you can be level 3 when he's level 3 or 4, then you actually have a chance of contesting him by using fire spirits and stuff like that, and at least making his lane hard. But you spend so much time just focusing on punching this Bane who's literally just like, please just spend all of your time hitting me.
I would say, like, the only thing I can say to this game is get Shadow Shaman to cut the second wave. This is a totally different game. Like, your game is ruined. We can watch, like, mid game and stuff because, like, there's comeback situations, but the issue with, like, losing a lane that you didn't have to lose is that in order to come back, you're going to need to either have the enemy team screw up, which will happen, but the higher and higher you go, it won't happen, or you'll have to take space from somebody on your team that should be the one that's taking space, or maybe they need to have some tremendous thing happen in their lane where they can give you, because sometimes like an anti-mage or PL can give you space if they're huge, but pretty ridiculous circumstances have to happen. And from what you said, it sounds like you got carried from like the PA or something like that. But in any case, like essentially you've come back, but you shouldn't have to come back in this game. Like, I think you could have a relatively, you could even see that Gorg is like scared of you guys, because imagine if you had levels. Like, you guys could be doing very very well here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like in terms of laning, there's not much to focus on. Laning, like the slightest misstep can destroy you. So I would really say, like, cut the wave. Even like level 2, level 3, if you realize, like, okay, I didn't know this lane was going to be so hard, but it is. Cut the wave at that point. Just cut the wave. Like, don't sit in a losing lane and do nothing. That is the worst thing that you can do. And from offlaner to offlaner, man, ignore chat, ignore Donnie. Nobody else is listening, right? It's me and you, dude. You can't feel that pressure that you have to pressure the lane because sometimes we can't do it. Sometimes that is not in your hero's capabilities to do. And if you feel that pressure, you will lose a lot of games because there's actually some other hero on your team that's doing really well. But because you're feeling that pressure, you'll overcompensate and you'll feed. And I've been there, man. I've done that a lot. And you can see your PL and your PA are doing fine. And that's because you are the losing lane. Sometimes as the off lane, you're the losing lane, and you have to accept that.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, just remember what offlane was like 2 years ago. It was the lane where you literally were just like, please, can I have one creep? I'm level 3 right now. And then you'd eventually come back at like 20 minutes. But right now, sure, there's a lot of high pressure dual lanes going on, but sometimes you're just in a weak dual lane and you got to play it kind of like you're the solo offlaner.
I think that's good for this replay.
Cool.
I think that's good. I really think, like, I'm being divine and mechanically clearly being like good. Divine 5 is like what, 5600 MMR. That's like,
yeah, probably.
This guy's a good player. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not making many mistakes, but in Dota, like, a slight mistake, somebody like Gorg C will punish you for it, obviously, as he did in the lane. So that's all we need to focus on, really.
Yeah. The only other thing I would say is I don't know how I feel about Veil this game. I think it's okay, but I don't think it's great just because you have basically no other magic damage on your team. I think you could get the armor from this.
Shivas.
Yeah, from
Shivas.
either Shivas. You could even go for like a halberd or something like that. Might be decent.
I think also Phoenix is one of the most like one of the heroes that benefits the most from the Midas trend that's going on right now.
Agreed.
Like I'm actually surprised you guys have no Midases. That's pretty impressive.
That is pretty impressive.
Everybody's getting Midases, and Phoenix has a gold talent, so you just get gold, get the Midas, and then that gives you experience because the hero basically just depends entirely on experience. Levels, so yeah, but that's like tangential. We'll go to the next one. Let's see. Got to scroll all the way up here, all the way up. Let's see. Severe 8. I love to see the offlane replays because I know exactly how you're feeling, man. Holy shit. I feel the same thing. And it's like I'll take a walk with my girlfriend and we'll talk about it. I'll just be like, "Oh my god, I'm so dumb. I've been like feeling this way," and it's like, "Oh my god, if I'm losing the lane, then that means probably somebody on my team is winning the lane. Like if you're really doing all you can to win the lane and you're still losing, that means you're probably supposed to lose that lane." It sounds so silly, but it is it's definitely the case. Okay, I have a replay here. There's not that many more, by the way. There's
okay, yeah, I don't have time to do a whole lot more because I gotta do some Valentine's Day stuff.
So we got this is Zavi, and then we have Locke submitted one, and then Jorge, and then Rainbow. Hawkillionaire submitted one too. So we could do like a speed round at the end if you have to go. Just do like a bunch in 10-20 minutes or something.
Yeah, let's do that now.
You want to do that now? Okay.
I mean, let's just try and stick to like the 1 point and move on, like we said we were going to.
skip the laning phase on this one. I didn't even read about this. What did I say here?
What should I do to make my carry do the right thing as a support? In the 5 minutes, me and Pudge offer some kills to Ursa, but he got no farm. In 30 minutes, he just finished blank. How do you win games like this? Thank you.
I don't know if I want to look at the laning stage though. It's just we do a lot of laning videos.
Yeah, I mean, okay, let's just go look at the initial. Let's just look at this because I'm
got him.
So it's a tri lane. It's Shadow Shaman, Pudge, Ursa. Like you guys should be obliterating this lane, which you got to kill, and you're laning against. Oh wait, no, you guys are the safe lane. Okay.
So you push the lane in order to get that kill, which means you need to immediately pull it back.
Yep.
That's what your next move needs to be. Which you do.
Maybe.
But unfortunately, because Axe is making the right moves, he's just cutting, and this is when you and Pudge leave. Well, actually, you can hit him a bunch.
Yeah, you do enough right-click damage to where you can kind of threaten him.
Pudge should leave at this point, though. Did he leave? He did leave. This is good. This is fine. He's chasing you. You can kind of mess with him for a bit, and then eventually, once he gets levels, you have to leave.
Yep.
So you cause him to not get that second creep wave. This is good so far. I have no problems with this. You caused him to not get the second wave. That's really annoying. You've done a good job.
Yep.
So far.
Let's go back to this. This is okay. So this is another lane where it's like you guys have a huge amount of kill potential with the Shadow Shaman, the Ursa, and the Pudge together. But if you actually look at the dual lane, I wouldn't necessarily say that you guys win this lane, even though you have an Ursa against an Axe, because Jakiro is like pretty brutal to lane against for NA melee hero, and even for Shadow Shaman, who's very slow and has very low attack range. I feel like they can pretty easily harass you out, and you guys don't have very much sustain.
Yeah, which is why at a certain point you should leave on Shadow Shaman and let the Ursa solo or try lane.
Right.
That's
like,
your option.
Right now, I would leave the lane because you have a massive creep wave under tower. You should not be soaking any of this experience. You should be over here, like doing something else.
Well, you can kind of stay in the area to like protect him, like walk over to the pole just in case some shit happens, which it looks like stuff happened. So I would definitely say stay in the area just because on a double wave, you know that they could potentially dive, especially with Jakiro Axe. I would be very scared to like go very far away.
Yeah, but you don't want to be soaking all of this experience. I feel like with that big of a wave, like this guy would be level 3 now if you were just.
I disagree in this scenario. I think there's too much kill potential that like the reason you're staying there is not to take the experience. It's because you're sacrificing the fact that you're being a bad support, but in order to try to keep him alive if they do dive. Like I think Axe and Jakiro are bad if they don't dive the Ursa there, because with level 2. Like, I really think with level 2 in the Battle Hunger and then Jakiro's dots, like, and Ursa with how low HP he had, he needed to be protected. He needs to salve. Like, he doesn't have enough regen. This is the problem. He needs to leave. He's okay. So he's using the courier, which is bad. Did you have a solve for Ursa? I feel like the problem there was the fact that Ursa has so little regen. But I don't know. I don't see any like glaring issues with this so far. At least like within the context of this game. I'm not gonna say that I wouldn't do these things. I wouldn't stand there like that.
Yeah.
I also wouldn't buy boots from the shop
courier
when you can get them
right
from
here.
the side shop right there.
Yeah. I also think that you're staying in lane too long with too little HP and mana. Like you have one spell.
Well,
I mean,
there's time where you just don't have tango regen going. Like go back. You could just be tangoing. There's just downtime. Like you could have a tango going right now and you heal through this dot damage.
Right.
You could have a tango going right now.
Yeah,
you could have a tango.
Eat this.
Like this whole time you could have a tango going. This is actually an important concept that I want to talk about. So I know you didn't have a tango going before, and that's just, I'm not sure, maybe you thought it was going and you just weren't sure if like the buff was there, but even if you're full HP, sometimes there's value in just tangoing a tree before you get into a fight, because it gives you tankiness for the fight. So it's perfectly fine to like be in this scenario if like you really want to save the tango or you have some reason to do it, but the moment a fight starts, just tango, because you actually heal through the damage. It heals you. Like it gives you HP regen. It's not just like a salve where it comes off. Like it stays there. That's one of the most underrated things about tango. People kind of treat it like it's just this. It's for like getting your HP to full HP, but it's more like you can use it to tank up in a fight. Like you'll actually heal through. I think that's level 1 Battle Hunger because that's not doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, it is level 1 Battle Hunger.
So you can actually heal through that, at least enough to potentially kill this guy.
Yeah.
Especially if you tangoed earlier. You don't even die there, I don't think.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I mean, and you have them, so you might as well be using them if you're that low. And then the other thing I would say is like once you get to the point where you basically have one spell or no spells, you need to leave the lane. Either kill yourself to a tower to get regen quickly or go to base and get regen. Don't use the courier unless you absolutely have to, but as a support, probably never do that.
You should be bringing them regen when you die like this, especially in a tri lane. Like you should be asking them as soon as you die, drop your items, Ursa. Look, I think Ursa probably has no regen at all. You could even go mid and bring your Skyrath some regen.
Yeah.
But it's like laning in general, and especially tri lane versus tri lane, is just a battle of regen. So dying can actually be very effective. Like in competitive, Liquid will commit themselves to kills where they will intentionally die in the supports, but get kills as a response, and then bring items back. They'll bring null talismans. They'll bring wraith bands. They'll bring tangos, clarities, etc. I do want to make a note that like I think you not using the tango when nothing was happening is a mistake. Whereas the tangoing before fighting is actually like a relatively high level play that if you don't do that, you should start doing that, because it's and I'm saying that to chat. Like if that's something that you don't do, you should start doing that. It's really, really good. And you can see that in Immortal. Like anytime a fight happens, everybody fucking tangos a tree. Like that's just how fights occur. So you have to like do damage through the tangos, and a lot of the time it's just strictly not possible because it's too early into the game. You can't out damage the regen that comes from tangos. That's why it's that strong.
Yep.
So it's not I'm just saying like use tangos. It's like no, this is a much more important concept of using tangos to give you tankiness while fighting. It's not about the regen. It's about surviving the fight. It's about baiting in the fight with the tango.
Yeah. The last thing that I want to say in this replay before we go to the next one is that I think that there's even more credence to leaving this lane early because there's a Tinker on the other team who's, they have a Naga.
Owning, actually, apparently.
Yeah, they have a Naga who's their hard carry, but Tinker's going to be a big issue, so you need to actually go kill this guy and shut him down. And you're one of the best heroes to do that because you can just smoke behind and shackle him, and then your mid Skyrath will just destroy him.
Tinker's timings are like bots, and then blink, and then he's basically unkillable unless he tremendously messes up and you go super late game. So basically the reason that you would focus Tinker and not Naga in this game is because Tinker, if you don't have the tier 1s against him, will make it incredibly hard to get those tier 1s. Basically, once Tinker gets bots, those tier 1s are like 2x as hard to get, and then once he has blink, those tier 1s are like 5x as hard to get. So you want to get them when they're easy to get, and then you can have the map control, and then once the mid game hits, like if Tinker has all his tier 1s up in the mid game, and he takes your tier 1s, you will never get those tier 1s. So your team will not have space to farm, period. That is how Tinkers win a lot of low-rated games, is the tier 1s. It's not even about Tinker like, oh, he's doing some sick shit, blowing people up with rockets. And no, it's not. He's literally just pressing March. The tier 1s stay alive. As a result, you have less of the map to farm. As a result, enemy team gets more farm. And then Tinker's teammates just win the game instead of Tinker. But, I mean, technically he's winning the game. But he's not doing any cool stuff. He's literally just got his bots because nobody pressured him. And then he defends the towers, and they're way harder to kill.
So one of the reasons why Treant Protector is so powerful too is just like he can just keep your tier 1s alive forever.
Exactly.
And then you're like, how is this Treant Protector beating us? He actually does nothing in team fights other than pressing R occasionally.
Why does Treant Protector have a 55% win rate in prorated matches while getting first picked despite doing nothing in the matches?
Yeah.
It's because like he's just subtly winning the games by keeping the towers alive.
Yep. Okay, next
Why
replay.
does this game feels so hard to play when we have no towers? You know,
Yeah,
that's coming out in a video. I think Treants are underrated. I think a lot of people do too. Like Seb playing Treant, Rogers playing Treant.
I love that hero.
He's good. He's really good right now. I think he's super underrated. So that was Zavi. We got Locke here. He was the disruptor. So a bunch of supports coming in hot right at the end. Here. So he says, oh my god, I have to scroll up again.
Disruptor, eh?
I think that's a pretty decent hero, actually. So he says, I was Disruptor. I think it went well. We won. But I wanted to get your ideas how much I'm dying in the beginning. On how much I'm dying in the beginning. I'm just skipping over text with my eyes. In my mind, it was worth it because it caused the enemy team to use a lot of resources and gave my lifestealer free farm. I like the language that you're using. Like not caring about killing and like when you involve resources into your language, I really like that because in Dota, I think if you think about things in terms of resources and timings and time, you will have a much better time understanding the game because it's not like other games where kills matter. It's all about resources and objectives, and even more so than objectives, resources. Like because the typical objectives are towers and Roshan, but there's like 10 more objectives that are really important that aren't that. So I like the language you're using.
Yep.
Plus one for that.
Okay, so we'll just kind of quickly go through the first few deaths then, just because that's what he's curious about. So he walks up here to ward. Earth Spirit with an Orb of Venom is on him.
Yeah. So you harass him back. Good stuff.
You're chasing, and you get arrowed by Marana.
A little too far.
And then you're dead.
That's not space. That's a feed.
Yeah, that's a feed. I think that you can literally just drop your Thunderstrike on him and then just like continue to whack over here. I don't think you really need to turn and get a couple of 40 damage right clicks on him.
That happens though. It's just, just a mistake. You just didn't anticipate the Marana arrow, and that happens. Unfortunately, because of that, you can't fight the rune. And as a disruptor, you have a lot of early game harass, so that definitely sets you back a little bit.
Yep.
So you stack, then you go back and you pull, which is good stuff. Earth Spirit comes over to contest this, which is what he should do.
But you're getting lots of harass, which is really good.
Yeah, it's good. So you unfortunately get a single pull, but this is fine because you can just pull the next camp. And Earth Spirit contested it, so like there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, that was gonna happen regardless.
Yep. So you harass him again. He comes over and
kind of baits you in.
Yeah. Once again, I do think that this same thing could occur, except without deaths. That's the thing. Just like once you've harassed him out, like the way I see it, your safe zone is over here by your easy camp, and his safe zone is over there by the hard camp, and you kind of entered into his zone once you had already done the purpose of getting him out of your area.
Yeah.
So this is something you see a lot in like Immortal. What bracket is this, by the way?
This is like Legend, I think. So
okay.
Like.
So this is something you see a lot in Immortal bracket. People will like. It's kind of funny when you look at it, but it makes a lot of sense at a high level. Like people will just dance back and forth between these two areas. Earth Spirit won't hit the Disruptor. Disruptor won't hit the Earth Spirit. Usually the Disruptor will get the better trade because the Earth Spirit won't be dumb enough to overcommit to the Disruptor in his own location, but the Earth Spirit actually did commit to you. But essentially, you'll see this funny dance between the two heroes where they're both just standing there looking like they're doing nothing, but it's because kind of like they're just wasting each other's time, and they know that, okay, if you enter into my area, I'll kill you. If I enter into your area, you'll die, but what else are we going to do, like, as an Earth Spirit? And I think as a 5 role, if your Lifestealer is farming, generally, if your carry is farming, you're just cool with whatever. You don't need to die, you know?
Yeah. I don't like this
don't
TP.
Let's see what's the creep situation like?
It's right in front of his tower.
Okay, yeah, because it's pushing in, so you don't need to TP.
Yeah, and then also TPing directly in vision. Like if you're gonna TP, I would TP here or here, but I don't think you need to TP because the creeps are in a good spot for Lifestealer. And I mean, you should be able to see that Mirana's not even close to the creep wave, so you can just run there and then keep your TP off of cooldown to potentially reinforce your other lanes.
It's true.
Okay.
I like that you stacked and then went for the pull. Like I think that was a very efficient. The very first thing that you did in this lane was a really good start to like good supporting. This is good too. I would be a little careful here just because of the Earth Spirits. Oh, but you have the ward there, so you see that he's not anywhere near. So this is good. So just keep bullying. I think what is Lifestealer doing? What is he doing?
He should be going to last hit.
Go farm, dude. That's the reason that you're doing this, is to secure the farm.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so many creeps. So many creeps just died.
Yeah.
So now our Spirit's back. You know that he's back. So I think you can just stay over to the right here, and I'd probably not play as up on the Mirana when you see the Earth Spirit there.
Yeah.
So he misses the arrow. That's still definitely like a little bit out of position there. I mean, apparently Earth Spirit overcommits. I don't think you guys need to get kills in this lane though, because like the way that you win with Disruptor Lifestealer is just by out sustaining the enemy team. They're not going to out harass the harass and lifesteal that you have.
Yeah. So very heavy focus on fighting. I mean, as expected, that's what people do.
I would pull the lane back at this point.
Yeah,
the lane is pushing out. You pull
definitely.
It back now.
Pretty much anytime the lane starts to get up to here, and of course, if you have like 2 or 3, you have 3 range creeps, you absolutely have to go pull. And you can kind of just like think about it. Pretty much anytime you're fighting in the creeps, there's a very good chance the lane's going to pull or push. So you should just like pretty much immediately go pull afterwards.
I think a really important thing to note as a support about the current set of carries that are being picked, Juggernaut, Lifestealer, you don't need to support them. Like they're going to farm regardless. So you don't need to actually get kills in the lane in order to secure them farm. If you are just pulling and keeping the lane in front of their tower, they can sit there and get hit by the enemies. They will never die, but they will never lose HP either and not be able to farm because they have Healing Ward and they have Lifesteal. So I would put a huge amount of focus on in this patch, given the carries that are picked, on pulling a lot more and securing bounties like you just did. I really like that. Pulling through, well, I think you tried to pull through, but screwed it up, which happens. That's fine. Like those mistakes aren't worth focusing on because that's just, you just need to know the timing. But like conceptually in this patch, focusing on this guy farming, and if he's farming, you're doing your job, you're done. You don't need to walk over here. You don't need to walk over here because he's already farming.
There's no reason to be here. Like this is where you want the lane to be. Just like be very happy with this happening here. You can go stack. You can just like kind of hang out and look if you need to be useful. But
in a free lane, you just get huge from pulls. Like you can just give this guy Lifestealer free farm, free experience, and then you can get huge too from pulls. And then if they come contest you,
then you kill them.
You can kind of bully them. Or if they come contest you and they kill you, well, they're trading lane farm for that, and Lifestealer has total free farm in the lane, and then you're probably still getting farm anyway, and you're doing harass to them. Like, it's not good for them to put themselves out of position to come and try to deal with you at the pull. So once again, the lane is pulling, or the lane is pushing. But it's a siege creep, so maybe you have the intention of pushing the tower, which is possible. I don't think you have quite enough of a lead to push the tower, especially because they're about to just go shrine. So I definitely would pull back in this situation, but I'm not a huge support player, so once again, a little bit of a missed timing, but that's those things sort of happen. That's just
more reps to get that down.
Right, exactly.
I also agree that you're not strong enough to actually push this lane yet, especially against the Mirana who can always just arrow the catapult wave. I would just definitely focus on this pull over and over and over. You can even stack this camp so that it clears through more of these and you get more gold.
The little creeps do piercing damage, so like stacking it doesn't seem like much, but it'll actually kill like 2 creep waves.
Yeah.
Of creeps.
And you can see you're now just hitting level 3, and this Earth Spirit is level 3, and this Mirana is level 4. So they're actually like keeping up in experience.
I want to say you're not doing a bad job. I just think there's better stuff you can be. But like the fact that you're stacking this camp every time and you are pulling at least a little bit, that's good. That's good stuff. Like you are being overall a good support. I just think there are better. Like you could have done all of this without dying as well. Just to kind of answer your question, but like the pulling, the stacking, that's great. Keep doing that. That's amazing. You're not even stealing this guy's experience. He's level 6. Like this is excellent.
Yeah. I agree. I think I would be happy if I was a carry and this was happening to me, like for the most part. But I also agree that pretty much none of those deaths needed to actually happen, except for maybe that first one where you walked in the arrow, but you're not expecting the Mirana to be there.
Yeah, that's fine, because it's like, oh, I didn't know Mirana was going to be in this lane. But the other deaths were just like, all right, they're already harassed out. You just kind of walk into them.
Yeah.
You've already done your job. You don't need to kind of do it even harder. You want to do like one more?
Yep. I gotta go in like 5 minutes.
Okay, well, let's do one real quick then. Bloodseeker mid from Jorge. Hakillionaire. We'll do Rainbow. Rainbow's I haven't seen Rainbow submit anything so far, so we'll do Rainbow. I'm sorry, Jorge and Hakillionaire. We'll get you next week. I promise. I should actually keep track of who we didn't get so I can make sure to get them the next week.
Sure. Did you send me the ID?
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. I put it in Alcluminati assembly. Oh my god, I'm so stupid.
We did do Rainbow on the Nature's Prophet, by the way.
Oh, we did? Oh, we did Rainbow already?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then that's fine then. We'll do so Lock, Jorge, Hakillionaire. We'll look at Jorge because it's a Bloodseeker game, and we just did a support replay, so I know Hakillionaire is a support player. So this is Jorge,
and he's he's also a cheating Smurf. So
yeah, exactly.
We don't actually need to look at his replays. He should be doing our replay reviews.
You can do your own replay reviews, Hakillionaire. I mean, we all know you're BSJ, dude. Playing on
12:015.
Oh my god! Did Jorge submit another winning fucking replay? Oh my god, you're banned. 12-0.
12:015. All right. I'm gonna be extremely brutal about your Bloodseeker play then. If you're gonna submit a 12:015 replay to somebody who's played 1,000 Bloodseeker games, I'm gonna tear you apart, Jorge.
Rip him a new one. Jorge's already got 2 holes. He's gonna have 3 now. Wait a minute. Whatever. Let's continue. Let's move on from this.
Tell me more about those holes.
One's between the rectum and the
All right, let's move on.
Scrotum.
Demonetized.
I mean, we're already fucking demonetized. Let's be real. Somebody said my swearing is cringy. You know how many people swear in Canada? So many people.
You know how many people swear in the world?
I'm just saying, I grew up in like a very hillbilly Canadian town, you know? Went to hillbilly schools. Like everybody, I have to work to not swear. I actually do. It's endearing. It's not. I'm not trying to offend people with swearing.
Yikes! I don't know how you miss 3 last hits in the first wave with Blood Rage and a Quelling Blade.
What are you thinking, Jorge? What are you, nuts? What are you, madman?
Not using Blood Rage to get that deny is a mistake. Attacking there is a mistake. It is. Attacking there is a mistake. Like, dude, the thing is, with Blood Rage and Quelling Blade, you have 60 base damage. With the Quelling Blade, you have 84 base damage increased by 10%. Like, you're basically a tiny. You should never miss a last hit with Bloodseeker in the first couple of waves, unless somebody's like heavily contesting you and they're not. Yeah. I would also probably immediately send out 2 things as soon as I wouldn't send out the Wraithband stuff. Especially since it's just 1 slipper, it's not even a full Wraithband. I would probably send out a Sentry, and I would send out a stick. This guy has
sit here and listen.
This guy has a wand because he's smart and he's playing against a Bloodseeker who's going to be using a spell constantly. This guy's also going to be using a spell constantly, and that's why you want to have a stick. So you can just trade.
Go ahead and click on Weaver's quick buy there. Okay, I swear to God, he has second stick in there for a moment there.
Shreds.
Okay.
Okay, so 6-2 to 2-0. I mean, this is reasonably good. That being said, I would also look at him and see that he's got 4 tangos. You got a salve. You got a couple tangos. I think that you could spend a little bit more time hitting this Weaver. Missing another CS, which is unacceptable.
Ooh. That was rough.
But yeah, like every single chance you get, I would hit this Weaver. I think I would probably be positioning myself up here. At the moment, you're just letting him play the ranged game, which shouldn't be happening since he can't actually be in tower range and hit you. So I would just stand up here, and I would hit him in the face if he's near the creep waves. He doesn't have very long attack range, to be honest. And so you just standing here this whole time is actually really, really bad on Bloodseeker.
Come on, you're so bad, Jorge. What is
Even right now, I would just run at him. Like, you've got thirst stacks, you should just be hitting him until he has to leave.
Swear at him. Call Jorge bad words.
No, I don't want to, but I'm just saying, like,
on,
if you have thirst stacks, you're moving at 380 movement speed with no boots. Like, this guy should never be able to be near the creeps. He has 5 CS, you have 13 and 5. I think that, that's okay, but you could probably have him even lower. You're both level 3. I think you could be a level higher than him if you're actually playing this lane more aggressively. And now that the creeps are under the tower, I think this is kind of one of those spots where you just kind of farm this camp and you try and get a level advantage. Unless you have a bigger wave under tower, in which case you can go deny under the tower. But if there's only 2 creeps, there's no point. Right here, again, missing another deny. Like, just spend some time last hitting with Bloodseeker in a demo lobby if you want to play this hero a lot. Again...
Oh, the range creep you didn't preemptively? Oh, you got it anyway because Weaver sucks.
Got it anyway because he didn't use the thing. So, okay, you do have a sentry. That's good. So, I don't know. I don't have that many complaints so far. I think going for another Wraithband is probably fine. I don't think that you necessarily need boots, although they could be pretty good just because you get percentage-based movement speed from Thirst, and this guy, once he uses Shikuchi, you can chase him down, but at the same time, it's like not very far for him to run into his tower, so you can probably skip
You get percentage-based movement speed from boots now, too, by the way. Just so you know.
Yes.
Isn't that bullshit?
It is bullshit.
It makes Pudge like a shittier hero. It's like, way to nerf Pudge by accident. Dicks.
But yeah,
Come on, man.
Again, okay. I don't like this.
I like it.
I don't. I think that pushing the wave there doesn't make any sense. Like,
I think you can push the wave and go jungle, but it's like you have to have that intent.
Yeah,
a lot of time you're just
you
could. The wave.
You could push the wave and go jungle, or you could just make this Weaver have to play over here where you can punch him in the face every time he comes in.
I don't know. I think mid these days is like, oh, man.
I'm just talking about this matchup specifically. Like, Weavers should get completely obliterated in this lane, and
especially if your other lanes are winning.
And you're just sitting here in the mid lane, not pressuring this guy at all. So I don't think that you're taking advantage of the entire purpose of playing Bloodseeker in the laning stage, which is that he can just chase people away from the creeps constantly. I would go jungle here. You'd kill this camp. You could even just like occasionally go blood right this camp because you really aren't using this for any purpose in the actual lane.
You could blood right to stack it and then farm it eventually. Yep. Farm a stack eventually. That's what I'm saying, dude. The mid lane has just become all about that camp. It's like you push and get runes, push, go to that camp, push and get runes. Because like I get it, you could destroy this Weaver, but if these players are good, they'll just freaking kill you at some point. Like the Bane will just rotate on you and you'll die.
Yeah,
they're good.
For sure, like, which is another reason why it's actually good to just keep the wave like right here by denying all the creeps and keeping the wave pulled back. But you could also accomplish the same thing by pushing it.
It's true. It's true. I think you're right that this is a situation where like you could keep the Weaver so far behind that they have to deal with you. That like basically the amount of farm that you would get from taking the camp probably isn't as much as the farm that you'd be taking from the Weaver by just destroying him in this lane. I think that's definitely true.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
the fact that you guys are both level 5, I think is bad, because I think that Bloodseeker should, in a 1-on-1 scenario, unless it's against like an Ursa or like I don't know, like a Bristleback maybe or something like that, something that can, or Monkey King. I don't think that Bloodseeker should ever be even in levels with somebody, just because it's so easy to get every single deny if you're actually like focusing on that. Like before they changed the thirst, which obviously has affected Bloodseeker some, but before they changed the thirst, it was like pretty consistently in my games where I'd play safe lane and I would have like 50 denies by like 8 to 10 minutes and be like 2 or 3 levels higher than the offlaner. And
I think a wand in this in matchup would be good because you could keep spamming on this camp.
Are you serious?
What?
That's what I said at the very beginning of the lane.
Yeah, no, it's I'm saying like the reason that it's so good is because like you don't need the HP from a wand, but the mana to use to bloodwrite and stack the camp. Like you could every minute use Bloodright to stack the camp.
Yeah.
And you kill him because he's Weaver and you're Bloodseeker. It doesn't kill, so you have to beat his ass. God, the other look at the jug and the Lich. They're like they're all at like 30% HP. Yeah, this was definitely Jorge flexing, and I'm glad you were really hard on him. But yeah, that's enough for this replay. We're good.
Yeah,
we're Gucci now. You're gonna get in trouble, man. I heard Kat. She was mad.
Yeah, I gotta go.
All right. Peace out.
Thanks guys for tuning in to the replay review. We'll get more of you next week.
If you want to get your replays for next week, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Dota Alchemy.
Yep, it's in the description below. It's also in the description below all of our videos. And we got some dope new content coming for you next week. So thanks guys for your time. We love you, and we'll see you in a few days.